Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students of 12th class, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Political Science 12th. Our today's topic is the end of bipolarity. That is the end of Second World, or the end of Cold War, rather we can say. As you know, the world was divided after Second World War between two power blocs, one headed by USA and another headed by USSR. But this USSR disintegrated in December 1991. That was the end of the Cold War, or the end of bipolarity, rather the end of Second World. But here we will try to understand what Soviet system was. First, Soviet Union disintegrated. What were its causes? What were its consequences? That will follow inshallah later on. But first of all, let's try this time what was the Soviet Union. Soviet Union came into being, or USSR rather came into being, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, in 1917, known as 1917 Revolution of Russia, under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin. Actually, that revolution was the brainchild of Karl Marx. What did this revolution do? What were the impacts of this revolution in Soviet Union? It was based on the concept of state-controlled economy. Public or the private property was totally abolished. That concept was abolished. It was designed on the principle of equality. Only one party was there, that is Communist Party of Soviet Union. Other parties were not allowed. Economy was totally controlled by the state. Before proceeding on, let's try to understand how Soviet Union became a great power. How Soviet Union became a great power and how it achieved the leadership. How it became a great power. First, we will try to understand how it became a great power. Number one factor responsible for this is developed economy. It developed its economy. It laid emphasis on short-term and long-term plans, particularly in the field of agriculture. Its agriculture grew in leaps and bounds that make the life of the people very happy. And another thing is, it is industrialization. It developed its industries. It made complex communication networks. Vast energy resources were developed in the field of oil, in the field of iron and steel, and machinery production. Transport sector was also developed. This made it a powerful state. And Another factor related to this industrialization was the domestic consumer industries that produced everything from pins to cars. Though quality was not matched, Western capital countries, but everything was prepared in the country. Vast industrialization was laid there. Even subsidies were provided to the people in the field of healthcare, in the field of education, child care, and other social welfare schemes. There was no unemployment. There was no unemployment. No unemployment. People were bound to work. Everybody had to work for his or her livelihood, because there was no concept of privatization or private property. This generated this state controlled economy generated employment for the people. Everybody was bound to work. Land, productive assets were owned and controlled by the state. Though these steps, as these programs and plans, made Soviet Union a powerful country or a powerful bloc in the world, on this planet, but there were some loopholes. It could not match in technology and infrastructure to first world, that is US, in the field of transport, in the field of power and other things. Political and economic aspirations of the people even did not fulfill. And there were some another loopholes too. It invaded Afghanistan, which made it very weak, and later on causes of disintegration followed. Now the second factor is how it attained the leadership, how it became the leader of the second world, or the communist bloc or socialist bloc. After this revolution, 1917 revolution, it worked in the field of this agriculture and industrialization, but its leadership, it achieved its leadership. It controlled Eastern Europe, which was under the control of fascist forces before this Second World War. USSR liberated those countries. USSR liberated Eastern European countries and brought them under their control and influenced them, even influenced them with the communist philosophy. With the inclusion of these Eastern European countries, it became a very big power. Not only big power, but became a big power bloc known as Second World. and it became a rival power to USA, which is known as the first world. Dear students, they made a pact, an agreement that is known as Warsaw Pact. This Warsaw Pact held these all countries together under the leadership of USSR, Eastern European countries and Central Asian countries. It brought them together under single leadership. But there were some loopholes too. Just we said some we can a bit criticize the system like this. The system became bureaucratic, authoritarian. It made the life of people very difficult. The system lacked the concept of democracy. People were not allowed to express their views. Even they could not speak even against the government policies. Only jokes and cartoons expressed their dissent. But instead of these loopholes, shortcomings, Soviet Union attained the leadership of second world bloc. It became a very big power bloc. Its economy, its industrialization, its vast area made it a big power. But later on, how this Soviet Union or USSR, how it disintegrated is a question for us. What were its causes and consequences? What were the causes and the consequences of its disintegration? That inshallah very important question for the examination point of view. Yes, dear students, that inshallah will follow in another lesson. And today it was the first lesson related to this topic, the end of the bipolarity, end of the how this Cold War came to an end. And the first topic you came to know regarding Cold War, how Cold War started, what were its causes and consequences, and now how this Cold War came to an end. It will inshallah ta'ala follow in this topic. But first of all, it was necessary for us to understand what Soviet system was, how it became powerful, how it became rival power to first world, that is USA. Inshallah ta'ala that will follow next time.